Ha. And now we're live. Or we should be live.
All right. Well, how's it going, everybody?
Yeah. Hello there.
Welcome to You Call This Archaeology. And if you're listening on the Archaeology Podcast Network Archaeology Show feed, then welcome there too. Because I take that recording that we make on this Zoom call and live stream and just drop it on the Archaeology Show. So hopefully you can come join us live someday at Facebook.com/archaeology, and then Richie on your services.
On YouTube, I am Happy Archaeology Fun Time, the name of my channel. And I'm also on Twitch under, The Man in the Hat.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I actually have archaeological things to talk about today, some tech things to talk about today.
Oh, cool.
And all kinds of stuff. So where do you want to go?
Well, I also have, we've already talked a bit about it, but, I've also got some archaeology things to talk about, but we can talk about that after your stuff.
Okay. Well, I'll start with some, I don't know, it feels sad, but also progressive to me, but you've seen my setup. I've got a 27-inch iMac, and I've got a 27-inch Thunderbolt monitor that I usually use in my office, right?
Yeah.
Well, as we mentioned on this show, my wife and I have moved into an RV, and I've been using those two displays up on the passenger side front dash of the RV as an office. But to be honest, it's a little much. They're heavy. Apple's, that monitor weighs like 45 pounds. I'm not even kidding. And the only place I can put them when we're actually traveling, which isn't much. Obviously we're sitting more than we're traveling, but I put them in the back seat. Like, you take a big monitor like that and you place it monitor side into the seat and then just seat belt it in. I've been doing that in our car. I was laying them on the bed in the back of the coach, but it's not very secure. Yeah.
No.
Well, when the bed comes in though, it's basically secure all around. It can't go anywhere. If they slide all the way to the edge, they're in the wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, worst case scenario, like I just wasn't happy with it.
But that's not very digital nomad because, I've seen plenty of these people who are living in vans who have like the dual monitors set up. They're like built into like their van somehow.
I know. And I'd love to do something like that. And I'm leading into that slowly but surely because I sold my Thunderbolt monitor this morning.
All right.
And in fact, the guy just came and picked it up a little while ago. I'm sitting here with one computer, and then I just got word that that my iMac is sold now too. They're going to let me use it for the next couple of weeks before we leave, but they're buying it. So now I'm down those. But I sold both for a steal too. Well, kind of. The monitor was, that monitor. I bought that in like 2012 or something like that. It's still a great monitor too. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. And the iMac is from late 2014, and it's still a great computer as well. I just had the logic board replaced because that was the only thing that started to go on it.
Yeah.
But so that was a $600 thing. Oh, I didn't realize I paid $600 for that because I just sold the iMac for $500. So,
oh wow.
I just had to get rid of it, man. It's a 2014 computer, even though it's still good. It's not worth the $3,000 I paid for it. So, I just wanted to get the money because now I've got $800, and I'm gonna buy, I think, probably 34, although they make them bigger, but I'm going to buy, I think, a 34-inch curved monitor. That's one monitor. Yeah. Now, I'll still have to store that somewhere, but it's a lot lighter. I can probably store it on the bed in the back of the coach because I can put stuff on top of it and maybe even strap it down a little easier than I could two 45-pound monitors. Or I could put it back in the car. It doesn't matter. But either way, it's less for me to maintain, but also gives me the screen real estate that I need to do some of my work. Because when I'm still doing archaeology stuff and mapping and things, and when you're fully digital, you just need to be able to put a bunch of stuff up on the screen.
There has to be like someplace or some way you can secure it inside your RV, like on a permanent mount, like maybe RAM.
Well,
something.
Here's what I'd really like to do. So we've got a switch where we can bring down a blackout shade in front of the front windshield.
Yeah.
I would love to swap that out with a screen. Like a display screen, and then just have a projector that I can wirelessly transmit to have the whole entire front of it be my monitor. That would be super sweet, but I don't think I'm quite ready for that.
That's interesting because I literally just thought of that, except I was thinking maybe you put like the screen on the outside or something.
Well, there's all kinds of options, but it wouldn't be too comfortable for us to like watch a movie or anything up there. It wouldn't be too bad because we've got like the really nice driver and passenger seat with, armrests and all kinds of stuff. So that's pretty comfortable. We could probably sit up there and hang out, but I'm really just thinking for work and what that would look like. I mean, short term, I do have a short throw Pico projector that I could try to see if that would work, but it's not wireless, and you have to run an HDMI cable to it, which is kind of a pain. But maybe in the short term, before I buy that new monitor, I'll just hang a white sheet or something up off the off the front and see if that works out. So problem is I don't have anywhere to hang that projector from the ceiling. I got to work that out too. I don't know how that's going to happen.
Well, it depends because I mean, depends. Some of the more modern Pico projectors are light enough, and you can just use something like a boom arm you use for a mic.
Yeah, totally. I'd have to pick something else up like that because this boom that I've got here would actually have my mic on it while I'm using it, and I don't have a second one. But these were like $20 on Amazon, so I could probably use something like this because this is just a quarter 20 under the under the mic connection here, which I could screw that Pico projector right onto it. So, and then maybe suspend it from up top. I don't know. We're getting into the weeds on that, but anyway, yeah, lots of different options. But it kind of goes hand in hand with what Paul Zimmerman and I were talking about. We just recorded the Archaeotech podcast, which will be out next week. And we were kind of assessing because we talked a lot about work from home stuff in the first couple months after we all started doing that. And we were just kind of doing a self-assessment. What's it been like after 5 months? Where do we think the next 5 months are going? And so anyway.
Oh, interesting. Wait a second. Afternoon, guys. Conference is okay. Tape presentations?
So that's Mark Silver, and he's referring to the Civil Air Patrol is doing their national conference virtually, which is the first time they've ever done that. And I think he's watching some of the presentations today. So he's taking a little break from that to check in with us. Thanks, Mark.
Oh, cool.
Nice to see you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wait, wouldn't this be normally around the time of year where you'd be doing the
air races?
Yeah.
That's usually mid-September, but they're still canceled. So, yeah, they're totally canceled. So that's my sad tech story because I really hate to see these things go, but I'm happy to see them go because I want to see them. They're going to good people and they're going for good things. And actually, the Reno Collective is buying the iMac and they're going to use it for a streaming machine. So I don't know what that means for them, but it's going to be super cool. So it's going to still stay here, quote, in the family, so to speak, and that's pretty awesome.
Well, I was thinking, because for years I've been talking about having like a permanent PC down in the recording studio.
Yeah.
And that's about, that'd be like almost perfect,
Well, if that recording studio ever comes back, I mean, they actually took the recording studio out and it's an office now.
Oh, really?
Because they shut down the podcast studio and it's not coming back until Nevada fully opens up. And at this point, I don't think any states are going to, I don't want to say that some are fully open, but I don't think Nevada's going to fully open because they're not going to meet the criteria for it. Where it's going to start getting worse again at some point, and I just don't see it coming back. So who knows? They're going to use it for something else though, so hopefully they can get some good use out of it. Yeah.
Oh my God! Before we move on, there is one thing I wanted to mention. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I think you were one of the first people who told me that there was a study about these gator-style masks. You obviously can't. Chris can't see me, but you guys at home can see me. But I've got like the gator-style mask, and there was was it Duke or North Carolina, UNC? Well, one of the
I think it was Duke.
It was Duke, yeah. They were saying that these gator masks are almost better or worse than having no mask.
Yes.
Although they only tried it the standard way you're supposed to wear it, where you basically just pull it up over your mouth, whereas I've been wearing it doubled down.
Okay.
Where I because it's long enough, I can just like make it 2 layers of cloth in front of me instead of just one.
Right, but part of the reason it wasn't effective wasn't just the cloth really. It was I don't know. It was the way that it surrounds your neck and everything too. And I can see you because I'm watching this on Facebook, even though I can't see you on Zoom. Yeah. And by the way, I also saw on Facebook you have a YouTube comment that just came through.
Oh yeah. Oh God, you can see that. Interesting. Let's see. I have to admit, I've never met Evan, but hi Evan. Wow, Mississippi. That I don't know. I've been looking at jobs down that part of the world now that it's like coming to that, but I'm not
I
sure.
don't think you want to. He said spit on a rain turtle for me, which tells me that it's probably stupid hot there. And
Oh,
Mississippi's a pretty humid place, so I bet he's sweating bullets right now. So
I feel like
yeah.
that's the part of the world where I'd like to visit, not to work necessarily.
Yeah, I've been through Mississippi. It's interesting. There's a lot of poverty there. There's some cool things there, and I'm hoping Evan, given the time change, is sitting in a nice ice box of a hotel room right now.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Wait, is that one of the places you might be going through on your like RV travels this fall or winter?
well, we do have to go to North Carolina, and we haven't exactly decided how we're going to get there or how long it's going to take us to get there. It'll probably
Yeah.
depend on whether or not we do this project in a few weeks that you're going to be on,
Oh, a
and
few
b
weeks.
how long we spend on that project. Yeah, dude, it starts in like 2 weeks.
Oh, no, I thought you meant we're only going to be on it for a couple weeks, and I'm like, oh,
Oh
uh,
no. The one that's starting in a couple weeks. So depending on whether or not that actually happens, because the Forest Service still hasn't sent out a scope,
hmm,
but hopefully it does. We're still planning on it. But if that happens, and then depending on how long we spend out there, that'll dictate how long we take to get to North Carolina. So
hmm,
because we have to be there by I think the 20th of October at the latest.
oh,
And if this goes to mid-September, then to mid-October, then we're going to have to boogie and get over there quick.
interesting. Wait,
So
would you be is would it be impractical to hit up something cool like New Orleans?
yeah, in fact, I know people in New Orleans that some clients that I would want to talk to. I don't see that's the challenge though. I know people in North Dakota, Minnesota, Chicago, Colorado, New
Mm,
Orleans, all over the place, and
yeah,
it's tough trying to decide where we're going to go and who we're going to see. And Mark says everything fried is in the South. That's absolutely true.
true.
I gotta make sure I don't gain 40 pounds when I'm down there.
It's interesting.
So
It's interesting because I mean, I know I mentioned this to you, but I'm going to mention this to the general world, which I think is super cool. That Instant Pot now has a air fryer slash Instant Pot.
I told my wife that when we were in Costco the other day,
Yeah,
and because there was some other brand that there was some other Instant Pot brand there, and that reminded me because you had told me that,
yeah,
and she's like, "Shut your mouth." I think that's exactly what she said,
yeah.
and I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And the fact there was another brand there that we saw that did Instant Pot slash what did it say? It's an
Ooh.
Instant Pot, air frying, and then also like searing or something like that. I don't know. You could do a lot of cooking, but it was enormous. It was really big, and I like the size of the Instant Pot. I haven't looked up to see how big the one is you're talking about,
Oh well,
but
let's
this one was massive.
see. Hang on. I don't know if they
And while
do
you're
anything. I don't know if they do a small one. Huh? It's looking like the only thing they do is the 6-quart one. So for right now, at
well,
least.
I mean, as long as it's roughly the same size as the current 6 quart
Oh, it
Instant
is.
Pot, that's fine. Yeah, it's just the other one was also 6 quarts, but enormous. Like it had a lot of stuff around
Ah.
the edges. I can't remember who makes it, but um, our super fan Amy joined us. She says good afternoon,
Oh, good
and
afternoon, Amy.
I'm gonna say because I think, hopefully, I'm not wrong that it was your birthday just the other day. So happy birthday, Amy!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I
Oh,
saw that on Facebook.
it depends.
So
Sometimes Facebook is getting weird about that. Sometimes it'll remind me of some people's birthdays, and then sometimes it won't.
I know. I don't know how it decides. So, but yeah. So speaking of archaeology and projects, one of the things Paul and I talked about was planning for data collection methods and data storage and data manipulation on massive large scale surveys because I just got word that with a prime contractor that we've worked with in the past, we're bidding on a 133,000 acre survey in Fallon, Nevada.
Oh, really? Neat.
Yeah. So it would probably start next spring and it would probably take about a year.
Wow. Oh man, that'd
Yeah.
be cool. Especially
Yeah.
since Fallon is close enough to, like go home.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And it's, I can't even fathom the numbers on it. I mean, I know people have done big projects before, but I haven't done projects of that scale myself ever. Right? I've worked
Mm.
on projects like that, but I haven't done my own. And my own back of the envelope bid on that was $2.4 million, and I
Wow.
just can't even understand those. I would have to get a loan for probably $750,000 to cover payroll.
Mm.
Just to start initially covering it. I can't
Oh,
even understand that. It doesn't even make sense.
interesting. Would this mean that you'd be getting another Tacoma?
I mean, possibly, but I doubt it. We'd probably just rent. So, yeah. Um, oh, there's your air fryer. Yeah,
God, that's
it's just the
interesting. I don't
lid.
think we even. I don't think when we worked at the same company together, I don't think we had any. I mean, other than the project that won't be named that went down to 395, I don't think we had many projects that anywhere that near that big.
No, this one's huge, but I don't think it's going to be too fun. It's on a wide open playa that floods every few years, and I'm willing to bet there's literally no sites on it. So,
Wait, don't you have a
you
book
know, if
about
there's
that? Wasn't there like another project that took place someplace out there, like the Fallons? Oh, God, I could have swore I borrowed a book from you that had something like a playa near Fallon as its
uh,
subject. Shoot.
possibly, I think I know what you're talking about. It's in the Carson Sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is also in the Carson Sink. It's a big area.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't have it up on my shelf here. It must be at home. So,
Hang on, let me look that
yeah,
up.
I'll give it to you. You can read it.
Ah, Carson Sink.
Yeah.
Ha. Oh wow, it's even. Oh wait a second, is that where Sand Mountain is?
I know Sand Mountain is out there, but I don't know if it's in the Carson Sink.
Ah.
Yeah, but it's definitely off that direction.
Oh my God! You know, it was crazy. The other day, last week, when I was coming back down to 50, I was coming back super late, and there were people. You could literally just make out the lights as they were going up and down Sand Mountain.
Yep, yep. So,
And then there's only one
so
reason.
anyway,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the only reason I'd ever want to go out there is to look for the Pony Express station.
I mean, there's a handful of Pony Express stations on 50 for sure.
But there's one near Sand Mountain.
Is there?
Yep, it appears occasionally, but obviously it's a Sand Mountain, so it disappears a lot too.
Oh, so it's like right next to Sand Mountain.
Yeah,
I
like
can't imagine why they would build it there because Sand Mountain was there when they built the Pony Express.
Well, I mean, it doesn't sound like the best run operation anyway.
Yeah, and I guess they only ran for about a year and a half too. Anyway, so there you go.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's crazy how short that ran, and yet literally everyone knows about it. You know, like it was such a big deal.
Oh man,
So-
Amy says she misses surveying, and that's the thing that always freaks me out about California archaeology is how often you get stuck monitoring, and like how people can like spend their entire careers doing nothing monitoring. It's like,
Oh yeah,
ick.
yeah, it can happen a lot. So, but I'm looking forward to, and I don't know if there's any chance that we're going to win this. It's only us and 3 other companies that are bidding on it because of the nature of this agency. But so maybe we will, and if we do, it's going to be interesting on a number of standpoints, on a number of I guess areas, because there's a chance we'll need UXO support because it's military, so unexploded ordnance, and I think by my reading of the scope that we're going to need to have Native American monitors with our crews too, which will actually be pretty cool because listening to their stories about the area, talking about the traditional cultural properties out there, and just the valuable information that they have. So we'll say goodbye to Mark real quick. He's taking off and heading back into a conference session.
Oh, and
Thanks for
hello, Chuck.
visiting, Mark. Oh, and there's Chuck. There you go. So, and Amy's monitoring in 106-degree heat right now. Man, that's rough.
That sounds terrible. Although it depends if you can stay in the truck.
Yeah. Some projects you can. Some you just gotta get out and spot check sometimes. And that's nice.
That's true too. Because
yeah,
it depends on the project. But when I was monitoring down in Mammoth, I was the only ARC monitor in the whole area. So I basically spent my entire day in the truck just driving back and forth between various crews.
Yeah.
So even if it never got that hot up there, but even if it did, basically I'd be inside the truck all day.
Right. And Chuck responded to Amy and said Section 106 heat. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, Chuck, I gotta say.
Yeah, that's weird because that was my first thought too when I saw 106. Yeah.
Nice. Hey, when do you want me to do this unboxing? You want to talk about some of the stuff you've been doing?
Oh no, I want to see what's in the box too, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what's in the box. So right now we're having no problems with this call because I'm in my office and there is high-speed internet here with really great Wi-Fi transmitters, and it's working awesome. But when I'm in the RV, not so much. And pretty much all we have to rely on are cellular towers, and those are problematic at best. And then Wi-Fi. park Wi-Fi, like RV parks and things like that.
Yeah.
And RV park Wi-Fi, I mean, from what I've seen, it's not like the worst Wi-Fi. I've had some success with it, but the problem is there's too many people on it typically, and your slice of the pie is too small, and you just can't pull enough bandwidth from the Wi-Fi to make it work. So,
well, I mean, especially considering almost everyone is basically watching Netflix or whatever.
I know. Well, you know what? I was actually kind of wondering about that because, to be honest, there's a lot of older people that are still doing, RVing, and a lot of them are at these parks full time. And nearly all of the RVs that you see these days, they have a satellite dish, and so they are watching satellite TV typically. I don't know how much they're streaming. Maybe they are still, but I don't know how much they're streaming because they're watching so much satellite. So anyway, so what I bought is from a company called Mobile Must Have, and you can look at mobilemusthave.com. And let's see. I'll try to get the exact thing here so you can link to it. I think there's too many parts here for me to tell you what I actually got because I got a kit. If I find the packing slip, I'll show it to you.
Interesting. Does the website, does it have a picture of an RV and then some sort of weird I don't know what you'd call it, almost like a Google Maps bookmark?
More than likely, yes.
Okay.
So this is a MIMO LTE GPS Wi-Fi antenna, 7-in-1 MIMO antenna.
Yeah.
We'll talk about what that means here in a second, but that's basically that. And let me see what else is in here. Got a connection cable for it right here.
Right, and I think I linked to the right website. I guess you'll about to
probably
you'll tell me.
Let me see here if you got it. Yep, that's it. And this is the Peplink Max Series UBR Surf Soho PDX FSE. I don't know what any of that means, but basically.
The mobile internet bundle, basically.
Yes, essentially. So this little device right here, you can see this right here. This has, I think this might go up on the roof. I got to look because this antenna actually goes up on the roof. I know that. And I think this might be just the router, but I think it also, no, you know what? I think this goes down inside the coach. Basically what I have here is I've got an antenna that's going to go on the roof. And then typically there's two big holes inside on the top of every RV, depending on your length. Maybe there's three, maybe there's one, but that's where the air conditioner is. So you run your wires down through the air conditioner, and then you bring them down into the coach where you've got a power source. And I'll probably bring them down into the AV bay right in the front. And what this has is slots right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but let me see if I can take this cover off. No, that cover's screwed on, so I can't take that off. But there's a slot right there for 2 SIM cards.
Yeah.
And so you take those 2 SIM cards and you basically put 2 different mobile networks in there, right? So you figure out which ones you're going to want to have. We already have AT&T phones, so I'm not going to put AT&T in here. And we've got a Verizon Jetpack that we're using. I may get rid of that and put Verizon in here and then also put in like T-Mobile or something like that. But I got to figure out what other network is going to give me a decent signal in some parts of the country. It doesn't need to be all parts. The whole point of this is that it's looking for three things simultaneously. It's looking for the strongest cellular signal that you've supplied to it. And it's also looking for the strongest Wi-Fi signal that it can get its hands on. And from what I understand, one of the cool things about this is that it will simultaneously and seamlessly switch between all 3 of those as the signals change, right? Because sometimes the signals change. But the nice thing is this is sending out a single SSID into the coach. So I can call this Roadster Wi-Fi, and as it's switching, I always have Roadster Wi-Fi inside the coach. My Apple TV is always on it. My phone's always on it. My computer's always on it. This is picking up different things, and even if the park Wi-Fi is called something else, my guess is I'll have some sort of app or something I go in and sign into the Wi-Fi, so then this can transmit. But it should always be transmitting the same thing, and then just sending me the signal. So
interesting. And I assume you got the one that was in stock because there apparently are a few others that are a pre-order only, and those definitely cost
Dude, this was $1,200,
Oh, really?
and yeah, it was $1,200, and it was not in stock. I mean, I had to wait for it. So I ordered this back in
Oh,
early July, I think. It just came today.
wow.
Yeah. So
Oh, because I was looking at the only one they've got in stock is called the Essentials bundle. But then there are all these other ones. They're like Road Warrior and Speed Demon and Ultimate Road Warrior.
yeah, I can't remember which one I got because it doesn't say it on the box here, and I have to look at my invoice. But
Wow.
yeah, I know it was about $1,200, and there's a YouTube channel we follow called RV Love, and if you put RV Love in there, if this is
Oh,
something you're actually looking for, you
yeah.
get like I don't know 5 or 10% off. I think I saved $60 by using them.
Oh, really? There you go.
So let's take a look at this. See what this bad boy looks like. I don't know how to open it. Okay, there we go. This, I believe,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. This is what's going to go on the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this, oh, I have to have a pass-through. Wow, I have to drill an entire hole into my roof.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Well, that makes sense. See, because this, I don't know if you can see this very well, but there's a
Yeah.
screw thing right here. And what looks like is going to happen is there's a, okay, yeah. And there's probably something else in here for it too, but there's a soft deal here that's kind of the cushion pad for it. But this is essentially the antenna package for all the other things. And it's got Wi-Fi and cellular inside of it. And I put this on the roof, suction it down or screw it in if I want to do that. And then tighten down the wires right here, which means I'll have to drill a hole in through the roof so they're coming in somewhere. Which that's not that big a deal because I've got, if I put this up in the forward end of the coach, over my head, there's a huge cabinet, and that's where the cable TV comes in, is routed to. That's where the HD antenna comes in for the HD TV, and that's where my Apple TV and my PlayStation sit because all the HDMI cables for the 3 TVs come into that one spot and send it back out.
Well, the thing is that I've been following a lot of RV restorations lately.
Yeah.
You know, where people are like renovating these vintage RVs. Well, they consider them vintage, but you know, I'm like, you know, from the 70s and 80s and whatnot. And the one thing that they all these renovations have in common is the fact that any hole you put in the roof is definitely going to turn into a leak at some point.
Well, it could if you don't maintain it. You know, you got to watch that kind of stuff.
True.
Yeah. So, all right, now I have to try to put this back in the box here to see if I don't screw it up. Right. It's always fun trying to do that.
Interesting. So, is your office mate still coming in the office, or is he working from home?
He actually gave up the office, and there's a new person back here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she. I've worked with her before on some different things, but she's like a grant writer and does other things. And I actually sold her my entire desk and chair.
Oh, really?
Standing desk. Yeah. So when I leave, she's going to transition to this desk or move it over there. I'm not sure what she wants. And yeah, I'm getting rid of everything.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Of course, you know, all my office furniture literally is designed to be broken down, or at least the important parts, the desk.
Right. Well, I mean, this could all be broken down, but I still don't want it. You know, if I ever need it again, it's going to be a year before I need this stuff again, and I'll just get something new.
Interesting.
Or if we win that big project, then I'll be living in an RV park in Fallon for a year. That should be fun.
Just like so many other miners out there.
Yeah. Man, it'd be nice if we could get like base housing or something because I was in the Navy, but I don't think they'll do that because I didn't retire.
Interesting. Wow, RV Park Fallon. Huh. There's so many out there. God, you could probably and there's so much RV storage out there too. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would hate to store it and live somewhere else, but because I like living in it, you know, we really do. But,
well, it's just if you're driving through Fallon, right? Like when you get off Fernley and you turn on the 50 heading towards Fallon, there's always that RV storage place on the left as you're heading towards Fallon. Obviously, no one.
Yeah, probably.
Obviously, no one outside Nevada knows what we're talking about, but I feel like, you know, you've probably seen it. There's like a bajillion RVs parked there.
I have, and actually, the first owner of RV lived in Fallon, and it was stored there for a few years. Not at that
Ah,
place, but at his place, because he has a huge garage and buses and stuff like that where he
wow,
works. He manages a whole bus fleet there, so he just stored it inside in the bus storage. So
neat.
we'd be coming home kind of for this thing.
Wow, that's wow. So I guess he's used to driving something that big. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So NAS Fallon RV Park might be able to stay right on the naval base.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting. It's like kind of like when I was down Round Mountain, and there's a giant RV park there. Actually, a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of depressing, but
Yep.
whatever. Not the
Nice. Nice.
not the fact they were living in the RV, but the RV parks themselves.
Yeah, I'm looking at this one at Fallon. It's basically a big gravel parking lot with platforms for RVs. It's not very special.
Yes. Interesting.
Yeah, but full hookups. You pay for full hookups for a reason.
Interesting. If we were out there for a year, I'd almost want to bring my camper out there and start working on it.
Yeah, if you could,
Yeah.
it'd be
Although,
good to get it going.
yeah. I mean, the only thing though is that I would need to get it lifted.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those things where
Well,
I'll probably explain it on the first video, but the reason I haven't been using it for people at home who are wondering is because my truck is very high off the ground, and so is the hitch, and literally
right.
the rear bumper literally is almost touching the ground anytime I hook it up.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's no good. That's
yeah.
no good. So,
Ha.
all right. Well, what have you been? Let's talk about your videos. You've been out exploring a little bit, but what was the
Oh
last
my
video
God.
you released?
Let's see. I think what was it last week? I actually released a video. I forgot to put it up on the social media, but hang on. Let me go towards my page. But see, today I was working on. Oh God, what was I working on? I was working on the video for this week,
Oh, yeah.
which was supposed to be a camping vlog, and I thought it wasn't going to be take that long, but I was wrong. Like I just did the rough cut, and it's about sitting at an hour 15 without bumpers or B-roll. So, and I
That's long.
yeah, so I'm like, I've got to do some more editing because originally I was just gonna release it like last night, but then as I was getting done with it, I'm like, this isn't happening this week. Oh, and then let's see, and then my video for this week, the one I just released, the one that I released last week, is 5 things every new CRM archaeologist needs. So like because last fall I was working with a bunch of new archaeologists, and they had many things. Well, I should say they didn't have many things that I considered essential. Like
Yeah.
like when our crew chief was saying, all right, we're gonna head straight south. They didn't have any compasses, so instead of just like they literally was just in one ear and out the other, and they were just walking whichever way the crew chief was walking.
All right then.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, that actually makes me think because I was listening to the CM Archaeology podcast about Heather's story, and it made me think, man, why would you ever like go out in the field without your field equipment? Like even if I'm only going to be out there for like half an hour, let alone 2 hours, I always make sure to have all that stuff
Yes.
all the time.
Yes, for sure.
Like
Yeah.
even if it's just staying in the truck, I make sure to have it. I mean, obviously, no one knows what we're talking about, so maybe you might want to explain this week's episode, but.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It was breaking up a little bit there. Why am I breaking up? I'm on great internet. I was
Oh,
just
that's
saying that.
interesting. Because you definitely
Yeah.
didn't break up on my end.
Well, I was your audio was coming in a little choppy. That's insane.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I
but
don't
if you
know.
want to,
Maybe my computer was chewing on something.
yeah, but if you want to explain this week's episode of the Sierra Mark podcast and why, even if you're going to be surveying
Ah.
for half an hour, why you should always have your stuff with you, even if it stays in the truck.
Yeah, well, the topic came about because Heather said, we didn't really have anything solid in mind, anything totally planned. So she was like, well, what about this? And so we basically said, it was a talking about harrowing field stories and lessons we can learn from those field stories.
Yeah.
And so she brought up a story of essentially her and a colleague were out doing some recon on a property and essentially started sliding down the hill, sliding down a not like down a hill, but down the road. And it was like a talus slope and it just wasn't very well maintained.
Ooh.
And they hit this huge rock and flipped the truck over. ended up on its side, and then the truck almost went off this side of this embankment and rolled even farther, but it was stopped. And then on top of that, I mean, they came out of it good because it was a brand new vehicle. Pretty much, it had less than 5,000 miles on it. This was just a year ago, so all the airbags went off, and they were pretty much saved by that.
Wow.
And then they had to walk 7 hours out with all their stuff because they didn't want to leave their computers and gimbals and all that stuff there. So they put all their stuff in backpacks and walked out with it. Yeah,
which I thought was the silliest part because it's just like, dude, you're coming back, and more importantly, I mean, who's going to go down a talus slope to see if there's anything good inside a crashed truck?
Right. And also, you just survived a wreck that could have killed you. Leave it there. The company's not worth it. So,
and one thing that
we ended up.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I would say we ended up spending the entire episode talking about that, which was phenomenal. Yeah. I didn't even think we would, but it just ended up being that way.
Well, one thing that Heather mentioned is that, you should bring snacks. And I'm like, that's crazy. I always bring snacks.
Always have food.
Yeah,
always
like,
food.
even if I'm going to be out there for a half hour, I've at least got, like, usually I pick something up at the coffee shop to have with me during the day. I mean, or at least a can of Pringles, something.
Right. And Amy says bring a compass. Of course, always bring a compass because you're like, well, I've got one on my phone. But after being out there for a few hours and then a 7-hour hike, your phone's probably dead.
Oh, that
too.
So,
yeah, think about that. And then Chuck says it was such a good podcast. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Chuck. Yeah, appreciate that.
Oh, and
hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick, we were talking about fold-up projector screens, basically.
Yeah.
So I bought one. Here's the link. I just jumped into Amazon and bought it. It was only $40, and it goes up to I think 10 feet wide, which I only need 8 feet wide, which I only need about probably 7 or 8 feet. Because I was thinking about what you said about the boom, and I think I can totally make that happen. I can hook the projector into my Apple TV, which is right there, and then wirelessly send to the projector via the Apple TV from my laptop and share my screen that way. So that should actually work out. If this screen is garbage, it was $40 and I'm not out that much.
Well, I mean, screen technology isn't that complicated.
Really, it's about the pixels it throws back at you. This is why if you use a sheet or something like that, it looks muddy.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you use something that has a lot of good pixel reflection, then it will send it back. Because I'm using a Pico projector for this as a trial run. If it works out, I might buy a better projector. But I'm using a small Pico projector, which doesn't have typically a strong light source inside of it. So you need something that's got high reflectivity to enhance what the projector is already throwing out. And the good thing is there's blackout shades on both sides of the driver's compartment in the coach, and I usually have them both down just because I'm on Zoom calls all the time, and there's weird reflections and stuff, and the light coming in, and it just makes it super hot in there when I don't have them down, and I have to have the front one down in order to put that screen up. And I'm actually pretty excited. I think this might work.
It's interesting. I mean, we definitely talked about this before the podcast, but obviously we're going to be going out in a few weeks, and so I've been buying a few new things, and God. Not sure if I can pull up the thing, but I did buy, because one of those things I've been thinking about is that, unlike you, I'm going to be camping. And, one of those things that I've learned that I probably should have bought years ago, but did not, was that, a little bug shelter that you can fit over a picnic table or a table big enough to be a picnic table is very handy.
Yeah, well, that's a game changer if you can be comfortable outside and keep the bugs off you.
Well, especially if you're in an area, because like when I was in Kanab a few years ago, there were like meat bees all over the place, and so what I was doing was I was just sitting in my truck and like eating inside my truck, which was, and I couldn't have the windows down because the bees would come inside the stupid window.
Oh my God!
So that was horrible.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, wow, why didn't I think about this years ago? Especially, why didn't I think about this before there was this big run on camping equipment? Because obviously, it's hard to get anything now.
Right.
Because the one I wanted, the one I really wanted was, it's called Gazelle. And it's like an instant pop-up shelter, and they sell a whole bunch of variants.
Yeah.
And I've seen it on YouTube, but they are effectively sold out. Or at least of the models I want. Like, they have a few laying around, but then there's the ones that no one else wanted either, so.
Yeah, there's a reason they're laying around.
Yeah. And the Gazelle, they're super cool. Hang on, let me put the link. Like, they are crazy cool. Like, they go up in a matter of seconds. and literally tons of people who've been doing overlanding use them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, man. I mean, the tent. I don't know about the tent I got, but hopefully, supposedly, it's good enough. We'll see. I mean, it will only cost
Nice.
$100, so even if it only lasts like the X number of weeks we're out there, that's like good enough.
Sure. Sure.
Plus, my
Yeah.
that's the same thinking I had behind my pop-up shower tent, and it's been 10 years later. I'm still using it. So, and that was like a really
Yeah.
terrible tent from Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah. I just got rid of my pop-up shower tent. Well, not just. I got rid of it last year when we were on
Yeah.
our Civil Air Patrol camping trip. I just had never really used it that much, aside from the one project I think I bought it for was the one we were on together out in Eureka. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's why I bought that tent, and we just hadn't used it since then. I hadn't
Yeah.
really been on any camping projects, and anywhere else we did go camping, there's usually showers. So, or something like that. Or it's just like, hey, it's only a week. I'll shower later when I get home. I mean, if you're working, you need to like clean yourself. You just get gross.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's the one thing I noticed
So,
because when I was in Idaho, obviously I brought my shower with me and my what I like to call my giant tea kettle because that's what it is effectively. It's basically I don't even know if they sell it anymore, but it's literally just like a giant propane single burner stove and then a giant tea kettle you put on top. And
oh
then it
wow.
comes with a special pressurized lid or a special lid that can pressurize the interior of the tea kettle and then you just like, once you get it up to desired, heat, you just like, have a shower.
Wow. There
Yeah.
you go.
So that's why,
Nice.
I can if I'm doing like a long-term project, I can never leave home without it. Although, I will admit, um I had like a stroke of inspiration after watching like I feel like I get a lot of inspiration from watching YouTube now, but like they sell these ice fishing instant pop-up tents and they're insulated and they're
Wait,
blackout.
ice fishing pop-up tents?
Yeah, and they're
Jeez.
insulated, and they're also blackout because obviously you don't want the fish to see you fishing up there. Because one of the things about my current pop up shower tent is the fact that you know, it's like very not like sunproof.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, wow, maybe I should get one of those cheap. Maybe I should get one of the cheaper ones and just use that as my new insulated shower tent. We'll see though.
Man. Yeah. All right.
God, and
Well,
I bought a whole bunch of things, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. I have to be honest with you.
mm-hmm.
Hang on. Interesting. So are you let's see. Huh.
Hey,
Yeah.
real quick, let me look here because we got about 5 minutes left in the show.
Oh yeah.
I clicked on that air fryer thing that you sent over, and it's actually just a lid I can buy now for our current 6-quart
Yeah.
Instant Pot. I thought it was a special new one, but
No.
it's just a lid exchange.
Yeah.
And then you can put it on and have an air fryer. That's amazing. It's
Yeah.
still $80, but still.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, and
That's
Chuck
really
says
cool.
the ice fishing tent has no bottom, which is the reason why I want one. Because obviously with a shower tent, I want the water to not pool inside a tent.
Right. Right.
It's
Hmm.
gonna be interesting.
All right then.
Oh wow! So how long? We've already been on for an hour. Doesn't feel
Yeah,
like it.
I've got almost 57 minutes on this Zoom call here, and
Wow.
we started the recording just before we came on. So yeah,
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. Which is good because I'm gonna have to start packing up and getting out of here because I can't stay in my office 24 hours a day now. It's only 9. I think it's 8 to 5, and then you got to get
Wow.
out. So because they're cleaning every night,
Are they?
and yeah, they just want people to reset and get out. It's part of their COVID procedures.
Oh wait, that's one thing I
Um,
can that's one thing we can talk about is like how is it coming back to like town after you've been basically living out of an RV?
You know what? It's weird. I think it's my psyche. I just I don't really make attachments to places to begin with. And like for example, we left a lot of stuff, our furniture and everything in our townhouse.
Yeah.
And man, I've only been back there once this whole week
Oh, really?
because I've been working. Rachel's been back there a few times. She's there now.
Yeah.
And when I did go back there, I think 2 days ago, Wednesday, it's almost like you walk in and you're like, whose house is this? How do I have keys to this place? What is going on here? Like, I don't even care. Like, I don't want any of it, right? I just have
Yeah.
zero attachment to anything in there. And yet when we were leaving, it's like, okay, are we sure we have everything? We're leaving a lot of stuff here. And then you realize after 6 weeks, it's like, nope, sure don't need it. That's good enough. And it's it. But coming back to town, I mean, there's always that,
Yeah.
it's like when you're on a field project and you come home, there's always that familiarity, and we love familiarity as humans.
True.
And, we love our regular routines. I mean, I like going to the same places. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
You are a creature of routine. And,
Very much.
we like going to our I'm not so crazy as like Sheldon on Big Bang Theory. Like, I don't say, Thursday is Chinese night and we're going here. But one of the first nights we were back, we did go to we went
Yeah.
and had sushi at one of our favorite places. That's something I'm going to miss because
Ooh.
there's nothing like the sushi in Reno. I mean, I'm sure there's better sushi in other places, but to have all you can eat for this value that we have is crazy. And we don't even eat that much. I say all you can eat, and people might think I'm bellying up to the sushi trough. But when you look at other places and the rolls are $10, $15, $20 a piece, we can get more rolls because they're smaller than those kinds of places, and
Yeah.
we pay $50 for the two of us to have dinner, which is pretty common these days. But I don't know, it's stuff like that I'll miss. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same town as when we left, and
Oh.
I'll look forward to coming back here every year. But
There
I don't need
is
to live
one
here
thing I
anymore.
did want to mention, by the way, because I know we
Yeah.
talked about this when I ran into you at coffee bar the other day. But I've been watching. Obviously, you and I watch a lot of van life videos and RV life videos
Mm-hmm.
now. And one of those things I noticed about a lot of these RV life video or van life videos, and makes me realize I probably wouldn't be very good at it, is the fact that almost everyone I've watched says, well, I don't like cooking and I'm not a foodie and I don't really care and blah blah blah, and I just like heat something up or stick something in the microwave and I'm like, ick. Like literally, that's just like my thought is just ick. It's so gross.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not hard to do if you got the right stuff. My
Yeah.
wife made a great dinner for us last night because I put in like a 14-hour day yesterday, so I only stopped barely to eat. And
Ah.
she she it was just like an instant pot chicken recipe, and then we had some small taco shells, and she put together some tomatoes and some guacamole and some other stuff, and
Ooh.
just had a little taco assembly station, and she did it in the instant pot in like 30 minutes. So that was great.
Oh, by the way, I mean, it's a lot better when you look at the meme. But I just saw something on Facebook today where someone was saying my tacos came with a fork, and then the person was assuming it was like to stab taco thieves.
Nice.
Because
Nice.
it's kind of like when you go to Europe and you see people eating pizza with a knife and fork, and you're like, that's gross.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So,
You know what's interesting? I wonder one last thing that just popped in my mind I do want to bring up is normally this is a time of the year where most people would be buying laptops for back to school or looking out for back to school bargains, and now it makes me wonder if that's
mhm.
going to happen this year at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody's talking about it. But then again, a lot of schools are broadcasting from home, and a lot of students have a need for a laptop now that maybe
Mm,
schools that didn't have them, and maybe
true.
their parents' computers or whatever are, there's a possibility that their parents' computers are either sub-adequate for doing this sort of thing, or their parents are also using those computers for their own work. You know what I mean? Like, how many households does everyone have a laptop in? I mean, my wife and I have a desktop computer and 3 laptops, but that's not common,
That's true.
and that's only because we've had them for a long time.
Yeah,
So it's like, I imagine there's a lot of families that could use some of that tech. So maybe we will see an
yeah,
increase in that. Who knows?
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh my God! All right,
But
I don't want to get. I just realized this is like the first episode where we didn't get into the state of the country or the current administration.
I'm sure moving forward we won't be able to avoid politics too much,
I know.
just because it's going to start taking over all our lives. But uh, hopefully not. I mean, keeping it light. I'm just
Yeah.
very much looking forward to the iPhone 12 because this iPhone
Oh.
10 is. I mean, it's still good, but it's definitely got issues right now,
Yeah.
and I'm not happy with it. So I want to replace it now, but I'm holding off,
Yeah.
even though the 12 is probably going to be delayed because of global shipping patterns and
True.
COVID and stuff like that. It normally would be released in for pre-order
Yeah.
in I think the second or third week of probably the third week of September, and then available for shipping by mid to end of October.
Yeah.
But they're
Oh,
saying possibly shipping delays to November, maybe even December these days.
and although no one's gonna care what we're talking about, but have you are you thinking about buying the new Zoom Pod Track, which just I think was just released last week?
I got to look into that because then there's the old the other Zoom device that came out before that too. You know, I've got my mixer here that I'm staring at, and
Yeah.
my 12 channel Behringer mixer that I don't need, or 8 channel. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But the only reason I really have it is because it offers me the fine tuning controls over my sound
That's
through
true.
a nice microphone. Whereas like my Zoom H6 doesn't do that. You know, I've got some things I can turn on and off, but I can't, you know, turn up the highs and lows and mess with the pots. So I'm
That's true.
wondering what kind of ability these other Zoom devices have for doing that. And it might mean that I can sell this and maybe pick up one of those.
Well, I
And
assume that Zoom
yeah.
assumes that you just do that in post processing. I might be wrong.
Yeah, but any engineer will tell you that recording to tape in the highest fidelity possible is what you do. You
True.
always record to tape in whatever you want it to sound like, unless you can record totally flat and then adjust that in post processing. But
True.
again, nobody wants to do that. You know, why would you do that if you didn't have to? So
Ah.
I want to be able to. One of the bigger ones is compression. Now Zoom, the
Oh, that's
H6
true.
will do compression, but it still is like settings. It's like high, medium, low, basically. And I don't have a
Yeah.
knob where I can just dial in the compression because compression
Yeah.
can help reduce some of those noises that are coming in, as you know,
Yeah.
while you're recording. Especially me, since I'm recording in an RV half the time, and there might be a fan going that we can't turn off, or
Oh,
there
that's
might be,
true.
you know, the refrigerator kicks on and I'm not in another room and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Compression can help alleviate all that.
Oh my God! You know
So,
what I found out today, by the way? I found
hmm,
out, because my Zoom H1, the one that I've used to record my audio when I'm doing these videos now, and everyone at home should look out for much improved audio quality going forward. But it has what's called auto gain, and I guess I
yeah,
must have accidentally hit it for some of those takes. So trying to get all the audio levels to like the same level has been driving me nuts all day.
jeez,
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah,
So it's almost
yeah,
enough to make me want to upgrade to the new H1N, just so because that's like one of the features they got rid of. Thank God.
right, right.
It's interesting.
So,
Like people might be interested in this at home, but when I was out I forget, is it the Pancake Range that Monte Cristo is in, or is I
yeah,
always forget.
I think it was near there.
Yeah. Anyway, I was out near the Pancake Range last week, and people should look out for like a bunch of super long videos from there, because like
Oh
literally,
yeah,
yeah, I lost my voice last week practically recording out there. And I almost like I've got. Let's see, what is it? I think each of my GoPros can record 2 hours worth of video, and I almost ran out of card space. I even almost ran out of card space on my audio recorder, which is crazy, because like I have a pretty big card. I thought, when am I ever going to use up like 4 hours worth of video or worth of room on a card for
yeah,
Zoom?
yeah.
And I did. I had to switch to MP3, which was whatever. But I also recorded I also bought like I also went on a memory card buying spree, so hopefully that won't be a problem in the future. We'll see.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, and before we leave, did you want to mention anything about anything cool that's going on the any cool podcast going out this week?
Well, let's see. We released a pretty good episode of the Rock Art podcast today,
Ooh.
and we've actually got a crossover episode of the Historical Yarns versus Archaeology Show podcast going tomorrow. I recorded with my wife, who's the host of that show, and she actually heard about an article and then did a bunch of research on. I think it was
Yeah.
Neanderthal cordage that was found. So it
Ooh.
looks like they were essentially making like spinning fibers in a way that we still do today in a lot of cases, and there was evidence for that, and it's 40,000 years old. So
Cool.
pretty much kind of tells you that there's only one way to do that. Yeah, it's a 2-segment show because we kept it to her format, which is basically 2 segments.
Yeah.
But we're releasing that on Historical Yarns and the Archaeology Show, so that should be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Oh wait, did you want to plug your new podcast, the non-archaeology one?
My non-archaeology podcast. Which one
Yeah,
is that?
the one where the first guest is Shaq.
Oh, geez, that's not my podcast.
Well, that's true, but
I was,
you're like obviously engineering it.
yeah, Yeah, so my company, Chris Webster Productions, through that I edit other podcasts, and you guys should totally go check out Producers Confidential, and it's a great show.
Oh, there
Yeah,
we go.
it's a great show, and their first guest was Shaquille O'Neal. Their second guests were the executive producers of the Naked and Afraid TV show, reality show. But they're two TV producers, and they are talking to people behind the scenes, people in front of the scenes, and it's just a really cool show. And it's weekly, so it just debuted this week with 2 episodes, and they're coming out with another one on Monday, which I've already edited and set up for scheduling. And then so lots of good guests they've already recorded with. So go check that
Interesting.
out.
Do they have a website or anything? Because I don't think I'm seeing anything. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I've got to find it because I actually haven't been there either. They're supposed to have a website, but I don't know what or where it is. If you find the podcast, the website is linked in there, I think. So I'll have to find that. Hey, Amy says real quick, I have the Zoom H4n. Is that a bad one? No. The number in Zoom usually just means the refers to the number of input tracks. So I have an H4n. It was my very first Zoom, and I still have it almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
And it's a great little device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I use the H1 because obviously I'm using it as like a lavalier mic, so obviously I only need the one input.
Yeah. I mean, you use the size of Zoom device that you need, but they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
The newer ones might have new features and some greater enhanced capabilities, but essentially they're all the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the important thing is that you buy Zoom and not something evil like Tascam.
Yeah, indeed. I like the Zoom line. I think they do a
here.
really good job, and they're very affordable. So
and more importantly, they seem to think of every sort of use, like the Live Track series, and now the Pod Track, and you know, just like they just think of everything.
Yeah, they do. They do really. So
I mean, as long as you got the money, they're definitely going to try to get it.
That's definitely true. Definitely true. So
plus, I feel like almost everyone. I almost feel like almost everyone. Well, just to say something really quickly, I feel like almost everyone who's shot a movie, you know, has has used the Zoom H4n or knows about it
at some point or another. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So
alrighty.
But all right, well, that's it for me. My wife's on my way to pick me up, and I got to get my stuff out of here. So we'll be coming back next week. I think we're, for all our regular listeners, if you're listening to this recorded and you want to listen to us live, we're probably, it looks like we're switching to Fridays now just because my Sundays were getting too crazy with travel. So, but I don't know. We'll have to see when we're on that project, Richie. We might be putting this on hold for a month. We'll see what the service is like out there.
Interesting. And, well, you have your little thing set up.
Yeah, but it's still using data though.
Oh, that's true.
So we'll see.
We can do 20-minute shows or 15-minute.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do just like really quick updates or something like that. So
cool. Alrighty. Well, nice chatting with you, everyone.
All right. Yep. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.